think of that as the traditional, shall we say, that moment where the cinematographer or directors Hector yells action. They've got out of that thing that they flick. That's the one. That's what we're thinking of. Anyway, this is going to be a good one, at least. Mostly because this is a good episode. Sorry we have not yet released the episode. I think we haven't. No, we have had episode 4 discussion. Good. We'll release the commentary and some of our thoughts on it later. I'm just working on getting it released. Anyway, allow me to bring in the guest, starting with... let's do this.
You can't be serious!
Hello.
Hello. And the next one, let's bring in Trip.
Nice.
Felt appropriate. Anyway, the next one we'll bring in is Mr. Aspiring.
Get fucked! Fuck you!
That was the most fumbling intro I've ever had do at the beginning. Loved Codex's intro, because that was just a fucking classic.
For the chosen for one. That's just me.
You can't be serious.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great choice.
Yep. And then we've got our friend here who often says this about this channel.
For some reason, we've just got rampant degeneracy. I don't really know what's going on here.
No comment.
Also, I see Valerian liked mine.
Sorry?
Is he wrong?
I don't know. What did he say?
How much degeneracy do you think goes on here, Valerian? You only call it out every week.
Every week? Are you sure it's not more like every few minutes?
We don't have a stream every few minutes, otherwise it would be every few minutes, yes.
Hold on.
Basically what he says.
For some reason, we've just got rampant degeneracy. I don't really know what's going on here.
No one does. No one does.
Well, we know what we're partially going to do today. House of the Dragon commentary.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Is that what this is?
Yep. I'm just going to release the Rings of Power as is. I don't know whether I'll do it. I might try to do a stream on it sometime later, but man, that show is tough to review because it's just so boring. There's nothing there.
I mean, we could do a review of several episodes, in one
Probably,
go.
Yeah, I think we could do that. I also have the after discussions recorded and downloaded. I just need to put them up.
Brightness Trip was saying something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Rings of Power, that's pretty appropriate what you said about just releasing it as is, because that's pretty much what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Except we bring the talent.
So, general thoughts for this episode before we go into the episode itself.
Which episode is this?
This is episode 5.
Sorry.
The wedding episode.
Oh, God.
Ladies first.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Put me on the spot?
Yes.
Speak.
Episode 5. Oh my god, I even watched stuff on this earlier and still am having a hard time remembering everything that happened. So, episode 5 is the one where we have Damon kill his wife, right? At the beginning?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I like House of the Dragon, but what I've been trying to actually do, because I'm not familiar with the book, is I've been trying to watch things that talk about the differences between the show and the book. And I know that Damon killing his wife is a good example of a difference because that didn't actually happen in the book or in the histories, that he was actually not there and it happened while she was out hunting or something.
Mm-hmm. It's ambiguous more than anything else.
Well, I don't know. What I took away from a lot of that is that they have brought Damon much more into, having a visible presence in the show, as opposed to some of the things that happened in the actual book or the histories. And I like that. I know some people may not like those changes, but I think it's good because Damon's a very intriguing character, especially as an antagonist. Alicent, her dress was gorgeous, so of course I like that. And now they brought the greens into it, from what I understand, maybe a little bit later there as well. Overall, I thought it was pretty good, but I thought it was a real quote unquote clusterfuck with the whole killing of what was the who Cole, the guy he beat to death.
Yeah.
Joffrey. Well, how could I forget that name, right? But that was kind of a mess. I mean, watching it, and I think we were commenting on things while we were watching that, but it was still, it was just messy to me because, you couldn't really tell too much of what was going on. Hard to determine why he was actually doing that. And then, of course, he runs off and tries to commit suicide, but now he's going to be on Alicent's team. So even though that was confusing, I guess it does make the show at least interesting because you're kind of wondering, what is going to happen there. But thanks for putting me on the spot, especially when I still haven't had enough coffee 2 hours later.
Our pleasure.
Hey, at least we have manners.
This is true.
Chivalry is fun.
Indeed.
You guys go ahead and I'll just comment as we go on. You guys usually have some great observations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Aspiring.
So,
I'll hand this off to you.
this was the worst episode of the 5, hands fucking down. Cole before this doesn't have that much of a presence. He's noticed as a competent fighter and as the interest from Rhaenyra, but we don't really see him do much. He's not had any agency as of yet until this episode, to which he proceeds to be the most self-destructive idiot I have ever seen in both Game of Thrones and this show. Holy fucking shit. His initial plan where he's like, hey, run away with me is just stupid for both. How do you think this is gonna work out? You're just gonna be chased and brought back with even further shame. And 2, how do you think marrying her and running away will restore your honor for the shame of breaking your vow of chastity? You fucked her already. The point is, you're not supposed to marry your fuck. And you failed. Good fucking going, mate.
Kill.
And also, nobody knows this. Your shame is just for you. Marrying her and running away would make it so everybody knows. Everyone. Jesus Christ, mate. Honestly, I kind of wished you just jumped overboard right after she rejected you. Because honestly, I thought that would happen. When watching, I'm like, is he just gonna jump overboard? And Rhaenyra should definitely be keeping an eye on him, since, you know, had no fury like a woman scorned, and the same goes for a guy who's been rejected. He can fuck up your entire life. And seeing as he fucked up his entire life, I don't see why he wouldn't. And then later, when he kills Joffrey, why? Why in the world would you do that? He has presented you with nothing but benefit. He offered to help you with something you're probably already gonna do. Like, what is your problem with Joffrey being like, hey, we both have an investment in these two staying together. Let's just help each other out and make sure to do. And that way we can both enjoy our lives. And then he proceeds to somehow disintegrate his skull with his fist. Because I'm sorry, I saw that hole in his face. I didn't see any bones. I don't care what fucking armor you have over your fist. I don't see a skull in there.
He doesn't. He actually didn't have any armor.
Watch fucking Breaking Bad and Tuco beating someone with his fist for a good example of how that looks like. They even thought that guy might live, if naively. But yeah, that you don't just disintegrate the fucking face. And so, yeah, Cole is the stupidest and worst character of the show. He is basically one of the main parts of this episode, and why I think it's shit because of it. The rest of the elements are fine. Rhaenyra and Lancine? Is that the name?
Leonor. Or the discussion of, I understand you like eating goose, specifically the head. And so do I.
But yeah, like that. Those two were. Rhaenyra was fine. Leonor was fine. The little interaction between Colas and what was her name again?
Rhaenys?
Yeah.
No.
Rhaenys.
Wait, Rhaenys? No.
Rhaenys, yeah.
Lady Rhaenys.
Yeah.
Cole's and Rhaenys' little talk was also very nice. It gives more insight into her character, which is she's kind of put that part to the past, which is nice to see. Daenerys was pretty good, and despite being fucking sick and ill as shit this episode, he still kind of comes off as somewhat imposing with these two. He's very clearly trying to keep as much composure as possible and making sure the Targaryens rule, not the Valerians. Or is that their last name, Valerians?
Yeah, Valarians. Close enough.
Valarians. Okay. So that was good. Yeah, for the most part, the episode is good, except they had Cole, and there was too much Cole. The episode would have been better if they just threw Cole off the ship and continued from there.
Yeah.
You don't have the story then.
I think the problem is, so they made a very poor decision to make all the deaths that happen in tournaments happen at feasts in the show. That was a very bad decision, I think.
Okay.
He just comes off as an asshole. You just randomly beat up the guy, and nobody stopped you. You're not arrested or anything for some fucking reason.
Well, yeah, that really got me too. Why? They all just stood there and watched him do it, and this is a room full of, what, knights and lords and all sorts of things, and they're just like, what, maybe this is the wedding dinner entertainment show?
Definitely not. He's the king's guard. They would see him beating someone up and be like, what the fuck? Well, there would be people who would stand up for Joffrey's honor. Many of people. There would be a lot of people who are just fucking indignant at this random shit. They would not have let this go, nor would the king's guard let it go. Like, they would make sure he didn't kill him. Like, yeah, he's the king's guard. They might be like, okay, maybe you have a reason, but please stop punching his face in. Also, yeah, he's punching. Maybe that would also tip people off, and him just deciding, I want to pick a fight with this guy. I'm not even going to take out my sword. I'm going to beat him with my fist. That should raise an eyebrow.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah, the melee was definitely a better choice of how to get things happening. Yeah, yeah.
are we still doing our short thoughts, or are we stopping
Yeah.
there?
Short thoughts. I'm just kind of flicking around for visuals.
Yeah, because Codex and I haven't gone yet.
Yeah, I know. Go for
Yeah.
it, Code it. Put it.
Why not let Balerion go first? He's been
Waiting.
Why don't you go first, Balerion?
Thank you. Well, basically what Aspiring said, well, here's how it goes. This is a weird show because the characterization is so good. I mean, all the visuals are all pretty good, but that's also true of Rings of Power and God knows what else. The characterization is good. They seem to be putting a lot of care into it, and yet they'll have these glaring gaps of narrative logic, and you're like, wait, how can you write this stuff and also write that stuff? So until the wedding, I was saying, you know what, I think this might be a 9 out of 10. I think this might be a B+, A-. But then all that wedding stuff happened. I'm like, wait, like Aspiring said, how did that chap just waltz out of there, la 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 la, and not get arrested? Oh, then he tries to kill himself. So I guess it wasn't exactly la la la, but still, And then, why are they like leaving all the blood on there? We're just gonna go on with the wedding. We're not gonna even bother to clean up after that guy getting killed. We're just gonna go right on with it. And hey, watch out for the blood over there. Watch out for those rats too. Don't they have a rat catcher? Don't they have people to clean things up? And I mean, I guess that's a relatively minor problem, but his not getting arrested or anything is a major problem. And are we doing spoilers?
Of course we are. We don't care.
Okay. Well, Sir Kristen Cole, in the books anyway, becomes Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. How do you go from killing some chap at a wedding to hey, I'm Lord Commander because, hey, I mean, I guess Allison just says, oh, you're pardoned. But doesn't Viserys have some kind of say in that? Wouldn't you be a little annoyed that he likes decorum, doesn't he? Except when he's having a shouting match with Rhaenyra. So I guess I was going to give this a B plus A minus, and now I think it's more like C plus B minus, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's a B minus because the part was so good. I liked the bit with Otto and Allison. That was good. And of course that dress is so stunning that even guys notice it.
Yeah.
We should give it a 10 out of 10
Also-
just for the dress.
I'll mention, you said
You
why
sound like
Viserys
Becca
would
now.
have a say.
Yeah.
I'll add to Balerian's point, not only would Viserys have a say, I'm pretty sure Leonor would have a say afterwards, as would Rhaenyra, and I don't think any of the three would defend Cole. And I'm pretty,
No.
I don't think anyone would defend Cole except for her because she has an interest in him for reasons we know. She would be overruled, hands down. There was no fucking way Cole would survive.
Okay. In terms
Must
of
be
Cole's
promoted.
motive, in terms of Cole's motive, I guess on the one hand he was, it seems like he was kind of shaken up by the rejection and all that, but also I had the impression, I could be wrong, but I had the impression that Joffrey was trying to blackmail him.
Yeah.
No.
I
What
don't
did he
think he was
say?
trying to. So what he said was, Sir Leonor is very dear to me, or something like that. We should
Yeah,
definitely protect both of them.
Yeah, and I guess
nothing he says could be interpreted as blackmail. It is very much a offering of a hand of assistance for something he says we're both interested in. There is literally no way to interpret it as blackmail unless you're retarded, which I guess Cole might be.
And maybe it's
Like-
just he's loyal to a fault, and that's why he does the things he does later in the show, if they even do it that way.
I guess he's.
I don't know. That's nothing about
Oh.
him doing that makes sense in any way. Not for him or just rationally.
I think we just have to say it was something irrational.
Hmm.
Cole's
Yeah.
not the most together. It's not the most together chap in this episode.
Yeah.
Which I guess
Actually,
is fine.
You guys probably watched the thing where the writers were talking about what they were thinking with this episode. Did they explain that at all? Like what they were thinking when writing that? Because I haven't seen it.
That actually might be something good that we should pull up. And what specifically? The Chris and Cole?
Yeah, the
Oh,
Chris and Cole part.
breakdown.
Because I would
I mean-
like
Yeah.
to see what the fuck they were thinking.
How long is the inside the episode?
7 minutes, but the specific session he's talking about is probably like 2.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was just wondering if we should watch the whole thing.
Well, isn't there also something about they changed how Otto and Allison interact, where in the books, they were actually like a team, but they seem a bit more adversarial here. Like he's almost trying to convince her to put her son forward, as heir, push for that. Whereas in the book, it was much more straightforward. She was always pushing for that. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm. I think
To the
so.
extent
Yeah.
that, yeah, I mean, to the extent that the story is, because the story isn't outlined in the book. So to the extent that we have a story, there's no indication that she wasn't on board with it. It doesn't say that there wasn't disagreement about it, but it doesn't say that there was either. There's no indication that there was in the book. But of course,
Yeah.
it's an outline, so you can fill things in,
Yeah.
whatever the thing is.
Yeah, whichever.
Oh, and Codex
She
didn't
realized
have
she-
his go yet. Sorry.
Alison
We explain
I'll let this play out.
and
and then
Streetlight, how are
I'll give my
you?
thoughts.
expectations of a game.
This is for you.
The fun of that sequence is playing on the audience's expectations of a Game of Thrones wedding and knowing that these things tend not to go well. From the very first frame of that wedding, setting up all the dynamics going on in that room, really paying off all of the things we've been building to this halfway point in the season. You just don't know where the explosion is going to come from, and then it comes from the most unexpected place when Kristen Cole finally just snaps.
It's a scene of chaos and anger unleashed. All the people at the top table who have been trying to control their kids and manipulate them. This is the result of that.
Poor Viserys. So many times in the show, you see he has these grand plans, his tournament, his hunt, and they just don't come to fruition the way that he wants them to. So at the end of this, the thing that was supposed to be a grand affair in the beginning of a long lead up to a great royal wedding, he throws a shotgun wedding at the end just to get it done. He quietly...
They don't mention it.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
just unleash chaos and anger. Why? Why a
Not the
Joffrey
best.
after he...
It's because it's in the book and they didn't want to spend the extra money on another tournament. Yeah, it's not very well justified. It's very poor. It's very, very
What's the-
poor.
Is it anything personal about how Cole kills Joffrey in the books?
Yes, it's actually very personal.
Why?
Because so basically it's because he is it's an open secret that Laenor Velaryon is gay. Rhaenyra even makes a homophobic comment at one point in the book. They removed that from the show for rather obvious reasons. Because she just says flatly, my younger half brothers would be more to his taste than me, to her dad, and expressing her distaste for the marriage. So, yeah.
Oof.
So, but why does Kristen Cole kill him?
in the book,
Yes.
it's basically at that point, the idea behind that is either he rejected Rhaenyra because he was too chaste, even when she just dropped her dress and said, "Please take my maidenhead, since my husband won't care." And basically, either that or he comes on to her and asks her to run away with him. And from there, it seems like he turns and becomes Alicent's attack dog. And specifically, he targets Sir Laenor, Harwin Strong, and Joffrey Lonmouth, and ends up breaking Harwin Strong's bones, as well as Laenor and Joffrey, beating up Joffrey so bad that he dies because of it.
He's trying to get at Laenor, essentially, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
But
they mixed up the events then in the show, kinda, because he's not yet Alicent's attack dog, which could have actually been something you could have done, because they did have a conversation. You could have made it so he swore allegiance to her during that when she asked or whatever, and said, "I want you to kill Joffrey as a statement to Rhaenyra," which could have helped. But they didn't do that. She's clearly only getting him on his side when he's about to kill himself. So he just killed Joffrey because I'm going to say he has a severe case of autism. Or maybe he has really bad eyesight and thought it was someone else.
Well, you can almost...
just the prince consort in the face.
Well, I could almost see it if you look at it like, okay, well, Cole is, jealous or is acting like the spurned lover, all of that situation. But it really hurts Cole's character, I think, because when he gave up his virginity, or his vow of chastity, with Rhaenyra, he had to have known at that time in the show that it's not like she was going to be able to marry him. I mean, he had to have known at that time he was making a conscious decision and what would come down the line. So the way they did it really makes him look like he's not at all self-aware, that he's not very intelligent, that he's very much just the spurned lover trope. At least that's the way it appeared to me watching the way they did it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Kristen Cole really is all that stuff. It really is all that. Maybe that is his character.
Weird
thing.
It doesn't help that...
Let me actually read the passage in Fire and Blood. Amongst the competitors were of the tourney were Alicent's siblings, 5 sworn brothers of the Kingsguard, Harwin Strong or Breakbones, and the groom's favorite Sir Joffrey Lonmouth, also known as the Knight of Kisses. When Rhaenyra bestowed her garter on Sir Harwin, her new husband laughed and gave one of his own to Sir Joffrey. Aw, cute. Denied Rhaenyra's favor, Kristen Cole turned to Alicent instead. Wearing her token, the young Lord Commander of the Kingsguard defeated all challengers, fighting in a Black Fury. So at this point, he's already the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. So he doesn't need to be promoted. He will so it actually, there's another knock against the show's internal logic, unfortunately. He left Breakbones with a broken collarbone and shattered elbow, but it was the Knight of Kisses who felt the fullest measure of his wrath. He used a Morning Star and rained down blows on Sir Laenor's champion, cracking his helm and left him senseless in the mud. Sir Joffrey died without recovering consciousness 6 days later.
So there is something. Here's the thing with Cole. Also, his situation is basically you were going to be the secret lover of Rhaenyra. He hasn't technically been rejected full out. She makes that quite clear. I'll do the marriage for duty. you and I will be the actual thing in the background, to which he does not like, and it makes him just appear slightly stupid because, mate, you're basically having the best situation possible. You get to keep your honor as far as everyone else knows, and you get to fuck the goddamn princess to be queen. Just what about the situation displeases you? And they could have done the jealousy thing, except they don't do enough to make it clear that Cole feels jealous of Leonor, which it could have easily done with just some shots of him staring with the most mauling expression towards the two. And then you translate that to, I want to hurt Leonor, I will now hurt Joffrey to hurt Leonor. That could have been a way to do it, but they don't present that very well if that's what they were attempting. I don't think that's even what they were attempting. Otherwise, I think they might have fucking said that.
Yeah,
it's
where
really
he's
only a
trying
few shots
to
you need.
beat up Laenor. Like, if he was jealous of Laenor for taking his girl, then there kind of might be a feeling of that, but I don't know.
Maybe he didn't dare beat up Laenor because he was a bridegroom and he's going to be a king consort. But then if he dares to do that, if he doesn't dare to do that, then how does he dare to kill someone at the wedding? So that doesn't make sense either.
Nope, it doesn't.
Like,
it was a very
again, just
sloppy choice.
Well,
And this
he's
isn't a
just an emotional mess. It's basically what they've done to his character. He's a bipolar woman.
Should he have been given coffee trip? Would coffee have helped him?
So he's hysterical, essentially.
He is kind of dumb for letting out to Alicent that he did it, that he deflowered Rhaenyra.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how they did sort of, because Alicent kept beating around the bush, when the bees and that's the wrong bee, that you're not meant to go together with that bee, and she's like, oh wow, she's on to me, because he hasn't got around to mentioning Daemon yet, so that's how I read that anyway.
Can you play the line when he says, I have committed sin, just those few seconds?
Well,
because the way he delivers it, I swear, it's hilarious.
Well, and while you are looking for that, if we go back to the deflowering, I'm not quite sure either one of them is a virgin, because for that being two virgins, where did they gain that kind of experience? Because first experiences are very seldom that sensual.
Yeah, Kristen is not a virgin. I think it's established. I'm pretty sure it's established that he's not.
I found it.
Doesn't he say earlier that he's had a bunch of women beforehand in the show? Or am I thinking of books or something? Somewhere.
No, there was kind of a thought of he did think about marriage once or twice.
And he did a bunch of, he had some women before. Not to be
well,
cruel.
Then why is he so upset about losing his integrity?
Because he was
He wasn't the Kingsguard when he was sowing Wild Oats earlier. I think is how it went.
Yeah, that's the difference between the two, is that he's a Knight of the Kingsguard, and Knights of the Kingsguard swear an oath never to have sex.
Oh, so now we're talking like the Catholic Church. What the hell?
Or the Night's Watch, either one.
Yeah, so it's a vow of chastity. It's not virginity. Then.
And I think what it says. I think it actually says that they won't get. I think it actually says that they won't get married and father children. So maybe technically you can do stuff as long as you don't father children. I'm not sure.
Who the hell thinks these things are good ideas? That's my only question.
Apparently, the church. Apparently,
I have committed it.
Oh, speaking of Codex, he hasn't had his go yet.
Well, to be fair, so go on.
Just the line, the way he says it. I have committed it. It's just. Am I the only
What
one
did
that
he
finds
say?
it really funny?
Play the line again.
Okay, let me reverse. Okay, let me switch it to.
Rather lapses.
It happened, Your Grace. The sin you allude to. I have committed it.
Oh no!
I just find it so funny the way he says it. The sin you allude to, I have committed it. Like that could be a fucking
well,
clip or GIF.
The thing you accuse me of, yeah, I fucking did it.
I actually didn't accuse you, she says. Well, she doesn't, but she could.
Yeah. So, basically speaking, I think this is a very solid episode, but roughly up 7 if ratings are involved exactly. Very solid episode exactly. Yeah, the parts where Cole really hurts his character exactly, though I think it's due to a problem of pacing specifically with the show. And well, I would say it's just more or less a pacing issue per se, exactly, because they really just want to get to the main conflict exactly.
Mm-hmm. I think it's partially they. I actually am starting to think they might have needed to stretch this season out.
Yeah, because it does feel rushed, and I do think that there are some hitting, like Asparian said, there's a lot of scenes that seem to be missing exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would the show be better if the first 5 episodes were actually 10 episodes the whole season? Maybe?
I actually don't think so. I think that they probably should have dedicated maybe 2 to 3 episodes per stretch each of these episodes into 3.
So 15 episodes?
Yeah. I think, well, kind of spread it over several seasons, like have the War in the Stepstones be the climax of the season 1.
Yeah.
And kind of expand a few things, have more flashbacks. Honestly, I think that I would much prefer this to be more like an Arrow, structured like an Arrow episode where there are flashbacks interspersed between the episode in between the timeline, in between the actual timeline screens. I don't think that would be very confusing. Either that, or since the Dance of the Dragons is the more interesting bit, and you could just do flashbacks to the pertinent part of the episode of the timeline to kind of give context, or alternate. That could always be something that they could do. That would be experimental and interesting, but nah.
Well, and on my part, as somebody who is not familiar with the book, right, or the all this history, it does say something that I have to go out and watch some other things, or ask Kai what's going on in the book to understand some of the subtleties and some of the politics going on, that I'm not picking some of that up directly from the show.
Yeah.
The things I did like was Viserys being a character and all that, and I kind of hope he doesn't die in the next episode, to be fair, because he's actually a generally decent character in all things considered.
From
That's
what
one
I
of the
have
things I do like.
heard, he is not dead.
Fair enough.
Who?
I believe they show that. Viserys. I believe my friend said they had something that made it clear he wasn't dead. Yeah.
He's in the preview for episode 6. He's very ill, though. He's clearly in a wheelchair, and he looks like he's been through chemo.
Fair enough. Obviously, this scene actually with Rhaenyra and Damien, of course, because they do explain they do go back and forth about some things, but they don't leave up. They leave it to the audience perspective how to make their own. What's the best way to put it? Make their own conclusions exactly, and how to make their own conclusions exactly about this scene specifically, which I generally do like. You know, makes a good speculation, keeps the audience entertained exactly. I'm sorry, what was Viserys' wife called again? Sorry, I do apologize.
Emma.
Sorry,
Emma.
Targaryen version of Emma.
You mean in episode 1 or afterwards?
Afterwards, sorry.
Allison.
Allison,
Okay.
thank you.
Sure.
I do like that scene, how she's kind of subtly kind of like putting the knife into Viserys' back, essentially, like wearing the green dress, essentially. Having like Old Town's allegiance to her exactly, and only to her. I generally do like that.
And the dress looked stunning. Even guys noticed that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would just turn Becca at this point, to be fair.
Yeah.
Is commenting on dresses just enough to make you turn into Becca?
Oh, God. I don't know.
All he needs to do is, I think he needs to grow a couple inches, develop a British accent, and the requisite female body parts, and also shed 30 years.
Bagatelle.
Because if so, I'm pretty sure I've turned into Becca a few hundred times.
Well, it's killing
No
me
comments.
that you keep saying even guys would notice.
Uh-oh, that's
The
probably,
dress
that's
is
probably
meant to make
sexist.
guys notice.
That's
I
probably
think.
sexist.
Well, I think that there's a very, very specific thing that would make the guys notice. And
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
that would be
decline.
the slit between the breasts, right?
No comment.
No comment, Balerion? Okay. Can you turn on your camera and show us where your eyes are pointing?
I'm sorry, my camera's malfunctioning right now.
Oh, I see. It's hidden. It's because of the tinfoil, isn't it? It's ruining the connection.
I hate it when that happens, but yes.
You need to stop using all that tinfoil.
Yeah, really no comment.
But how do you pack his food? What else? Oh, the beginning part with Damien and his wife, essentially. Yeah, that was pretty fucking brutal. Not gonna lie about that.
I do like the wife. I mean, she got like a couple of minutes to exist, but she was cool.
Yeah.
I'll say, give your comments on this. I would have actually preferred they not show it and leave it ambiguous as to whether or not Damon killed her.
Oh, I like
Well-
the fact that he killed her.
Yeah, I did.
I mean,
I
if
don't
you're
think
gonna do it on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Yeah, the only thing is now we know he's evil.
No,
Well,
he's
he-
not evil. He's just, a
Matt Smith.
bastard.
Doesn't want to fuck. He doesn't want to fuck the uglier than sheep.
Although,
Well,
Oof.
you didn't have to F her. You didn't have to kill. You don't have to kill someone just because you're not going to F them. I mean, there are loads of people that I haven't F'd, but I haven't killed them either.
Well, I think we can tell from their small conversation they both hate each other.
yeah, but
very
I would have liked to have known more about why they hated each other. They establish, of course, that they do, and they establish early on that he can't stand her. But why?
I do agree.
I
She
think-
does not get any time, really. And I would have honestly kind of liked that. Just because it seemed like there was something interesting there.
I guess she's too. I mean, I think maybe he likes his women a bit more submissive than that, or not submissive, but
I don't think Rhaenyra's
Not
submissive.
Not at the butt.
yeah, not really, but
he doesn't like
more
it,
like
but-
subordinate. Well, that's why he thinks maybe he thinks with Rhaenyra he thinks, oh, she's this vulnerable little girl. Whoa, she's getting into it. Yikes! That's been a theory, but anyway.
I think I think that's actually like kind of an interesting theory. But he likes his women submissive / he doesn't like. I think at least in the book he just doesn't like her, and there's kind of the intimation that she likes women, and then not guys. That's one of the like part of the intimation, like George R. R. Martin's, I guess, code, you might call it, in terms of how he codes ladies who have same-sex attraction in his novels is usually to make them aria types. Like if you look at Sabetha Frey, for example, or Allie Blackwood, Alyssa Farman.
Doesn't Allie Blackwood go for Regan Stark?
Oh, she does, but there's the intimate. There's an intimation that her and Sabetha Frey share a tent.
Oh, well, you could share a tent without hopping to bed with each other.
Oh, I know, but it's a lot of the language for her and for those two is similar to the Rena and Alyssa Farman language.
So George R. R. Martin uses share a tent, where Robert Jordan used pillow friends, basically.
Yeah, the whole pillow friends thing. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Also, on that scene, I do like how she tries to bait him to kill her and not just leave her to starve. But I'm pretty sure that was his plan, because you think he's just gonna leave you paralyzed and alive to tell them what happened? He's gonna kill you. He's just getting the rock for you.
Yeah.
You don't need to bait him. You're not living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is quite dead, no matter what happens. He just decides, okay, I'm going to make this personal.
She's most sincerely dead.
I guess we can watch that movie so that I can just rant about how much I hate The Wizard of Oz sometime.
That might be a riot.
Yeah,
I hate The Wizard of Oz.
Really?
I remember you said that before, but it keeps shocking me every time you say it.
Really?
Because it's such a weird choice.
Yeah, I find it saccharine and boring.
Did you find it that way when you were 5 or 6 years old, though, too?
Yes, I did.
You were so sophisticated, and
No, it's not sophisticated. I just didn't like anything that didn't have a sword in it.
oh, that's true. There aren't any swords. I don't remember anyway.
You didn't like seeing a big lady being flushed down a toilet?
Oh, you mean The Wiz? Okay, The Wiz is hilarious. That's not in question. I'm talking the specific the MGM movie.
He's talking about the one she's talking about the one where she's most sincerely dead.
What about Return to Oz?
There's actually a musical adaptation. The what?
Return to Oz.
I haven't seen Return to Oz, but I like it much better. From what I've seen of it. I like the concept, at least.
Is this the one where Jack Pumpkinhead comes to life because of love?
Oh,
that's the one.
Right. I forgot. This is in this episode. So, the son of the new hand, the one who has a cane, he had one saying, but I automatically just liked him because he is kind of like Littlefinger, honestly, and how he is actually subtle in his manipulations and even a little bit coy about it. Where he's like, so glad to be wrong. Like, I keep hearing people call Ottoman the Littlefinger of the show, and I'm just like, nah, that's this guy. This guy actually has subtlety.
Lara Strong. So Lara Strong. Yeah. What's his name? Otto's not particularly subtle. I mean, he tries to be, but it's not really.
Viserys legit calls him out for being terrible at it.
Yeah.
He's a more subtle version of Tywin He's a more subtle version of Tywin Lannister in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
Ottoman or this guy?
Otto Hightower. It's not Ottoman.
Otto or
I
Botto.
know. I'm gonna keep calling him Ottoman.
Otto the Botto.
Yeah. So the symbolism, man, the allegory for the Wizard of Oz is stupid. the allegory argument is really stupid.
Yep.
It doesn't say anything. It's basically just what it's meant to represent. It doesn't say anything really about anything. It's just these elements represent this thing. It doesn't have any real message to convey. And the book sucks. The book is really bad.
The book is kind of meh. The book is one of the less bad of the. The book is one of the worst of the early Oz books anyway. The later Oz, some of the. I think the Land of Oz is much better. Emerald City.
Oh yeah.
Too.
Oh yeah. Osman of Oz is also better.
Yeah, so a lot of the other books are actually better than the Wizard of Oz book.
Yeah. I think the main there's also I think what is it, the land is the Land of Oz the one where they have the whole thing about what is it? The Princess of Oz being turned into a boy to keep her from inheriting the throne.
And then she turns into a girl. I don't understand why he couldn't just inherit the throne as a guy. If we know it's the same person. But L. Frank Baum gets into this weird gender bending thing. So he was very advanced in that sense, I guess.
Maybe it's not that they couldn't inherit the throne, but just to keep them from looking for when they wanted to try looking for them. But
yeah, just to hide them. Yeah, they hid him as a boy.
That would make more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Still, I like the book, but I hate the ending. But anyway.
Yeah. The weird financial ending. Yeah, yeah, that is really. Yeah, I agree. Also, sorry to tangent into Wizard of Oz. I just find it interesting. The whole thing with the how the wizard shows up to the individual characters is also really stupidly planned out. It doesn't make sense that the lion would have the fireball, the scarecrow would have a monster, and monster would be Tin Man, and the fairy princess would be the scarecrow. It legit doesn't make any sense for their characters and their individual things.
What are you even talking about now?
You remember in the book, there's a part where the wizard shows him is chatting with the individual members of the party, and they are shown a different version of the wizard, or at least the tricked. The scarecrow gets a pretty lady. The lion gets fire, and the Tin Woodsman gets it's a monster, even though the monster would make more sense for the lion, the fireball for the scarecrow, and the woman for the Tin Man, because those are each of the things that have scared them or psychologically harmed them in the past.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's why I say L. Frank Baum, his first book is pretty bad. There's a lot of weird problems with it.
Follow the tangent road. Follow the tangent road.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, follow the tangent road. I mean, it is. Yes, the construction is not of the most cohesive. But anyway, what the aspiring chap says in the chat, do we know if Cole is Mormon? Not in that tone of voice, obviously, but yes, that's what he.
I'm kind of wondering what the context is.
I don't know. It just looks funny.
What, he can't control his sexual instincts, and he has that Cole has a problem with purity culture? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, no. Or maybe it's the vow of chastity.
Is
No,
Cole a
Mormons.
polygamist?
Well, that's the thing about Mormons. It's not a matter of we have a vow of chastity. It's that you are supposed to eventually get married. Married. You just can't get married immediately.
You're just not meant to bonk about with people who you're not married to.
Exactly. It's actually
This is why.
it's called there was a primary commandment: multiply and replenish the earth. I think you've heard of it.
Yeah, but however we did that. So hey, humanity's already done that. So hey, we should be good.
Still needs more kids.
Yikes!
Yeah, this is the scene I was talking about with the green dress and the like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Uncle. I was worried that given leave of your father's shadow. I don't even remember this scene very well.
Basically,
Neither do I.
is saying, without daddy there, I thought that you would probably wilt and just kind of be a demure little housewife. But turns out I was wrong.
Well, duh. But yeah, I got kind of distracted from Damon because of, well, you know.
I do see where the eyes are pointing, Valerian.
Yep.
You should make that tinfoil hat a bit longer so it covers your eyes.
Bother.
Can't allow the impure to stain your memory.
Bother. Let me see if I can actually do that.
If Valerian had his way, he would have the. Have any of you guys seen Black Mirror?
Celibacy, not chastity. Yeah, that's actually accurate. Yeah.
Done. Have you seen Black Mirror? I think you said a few once before.
I've seen one scene of Black Mirror, but I haven't seen anything else.
Okay.
I have watched them all.
Oh, you have? Do you remember the episode where they had like the sensor function for your eyes?
Oh yeah, but was that wasn't freaking Valerian?
It's not hard to do much with like this though.
It just cut holes into it where your eyes should be. It'll work perfectly.
You
So it wasn't.
Is that supposed to be a plague doctor mask or a misplaced condom?
Shut up.
Or rhino.
I'm just trying to cover my eyes up, but then trouble with that is I can't see anything. If only I could.
Well, if it's a misplaced condom, got quite the little bend going on there, Valerian. Okay.
Look, Trip. It is the world's only reusable condom.
Ew.
God. All right, back to Black Mirror.
Yes, please let's get back on track.
Okay,
Yes,
so
please.
but wasn't that more not? I mean, it was a sensor for
Stress.
for like your memories or your experiences, you know, where you could. Wasn't that like basically you agreed to have your entire life recorded and, you know, like the spouse would ask for a replay of like other people could watch, you know, your experiences and all that? Is that the one you're talking about?
I think you're referring to the first season, third episode one, right? The one where they can like put their memories up on a TV.
Yeah.
That's not what I don't think they had a censor function in that one. I was more referring to. I think they have several ones with a censor, but like 2 episodes have a. One's the girl with the tablet when she has like a chip in her brain and it just censors anything that stresses her out. Or
The mom. Yeah, the mom controls the settings so that she won't. Yeah, okay, I remember that one.
Yeah, and the kind of Christmas one where they could make a copy of your brain as a simulation, and they also had a thing where they could censor the person's face make it so you can't see them. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah, that was a like you've been ostracized from society,
Yeah.
or yeah, I remember that one where the mother basically blanked the father, and he didn't even know he was the father for a while. And yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I was referring about the. That's
are
what
not
Valerian
the
needs
father.
for. That's what Valerian needs for tits. So
What?
he can never be impure. Is that sensor function?
maybe
Oh,
That's
so,
his perfect world.
so that they're just blurred all the time.
Yes, that's Valerian's perfect world.
maybe
Hmm.
Valerian just needs to go get married. Unless he already is married or has been married before.
No comment.
He's 1,000 years old, done. If he hasn't been married, I guarantee he's at least put his bloodline somewhere.
Who knows?
Well,
Maybe
what
he could be
the-
a long lost son or something.
Is it that he needs to get married, or he just needs to get laid?
I don't know.
No, I think
Which
he
do you
needs
think
to-
he needs more?
I think he needs to get married. That way he can consistently do it with a lady he emotionally engages with.
He
Why
needs
do you
mo-
have to be
basically-
married to do that?
You think
because
Valerian's gonna fuck a
because
lady without
Valerian-
marrying?
What I mean,
Because
unless
it's
if we.
Valerian.
Oh,
He's-
okay.
He's-
I was just
he's
gonna
actually
say,
more
you know,
religious than I am.
take if you take like religion out of it, why do you need to do that? But
Well,
what
he
did you
does
just say?
predate religion.
Valerian is. Excuse me, there's only a year's difference here, so you better be careful with that, Shy.
No, he's 1,000 years old. We know this. He
And
was
she's
back
900
with the dinosaurs.
And she's only 999 years old. Is that it?
However, I am a much sexier 999 years old. Thank you.
Oh, no question.
Trip. You don't look a day over the 1st century.
Oh, gee.
How kind, Mr. Aspiring.
If I didn't know, I would say you weren't even immortal.
God.
Where are we anyway? Oh, this looks like with the wedding. We were in a completely different
We're-
scene a moment ago.
I'm just kind of skipping around to avoid copyright.
Okay, so we talked about Damon's wife. What happened right after that?
That was the king
The ship.
going to Driftmark and exposing just how weak physically Mr. Viserys is. He's clearly
It was only a
not.
3-hour tour.
And kind of politically, too.
Oh yeah, because
Mhm.
there was a big thing about that, about the fact that a king would never have like done that.
Well,
He does seem very much desperate, though, considering he seems to be on the verge of death, which I think might be like he seems to be weak politically. He also seems desperate, is the thing I think's most important.
spoiler,
He's-
but he's going to
he's
be dying
trying-
for the next decade.
He's trying very hard not to be, and I think the entire thing where he's interacting with the Valarans is pretty. He does a very commendable effort, despite his body just failing on him, and also the
Oh.
king's hand's great.
So I have a question. Why is there such opposition from Viserys to make is his son's name Aegon?
Aegon, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the whole thing with that? Why doesn't he want his quote unquote firstborn son to be the heir?
That
I
goes
think-
back to the first, to earlier in the show, where
He made
because he was so caught up with getting a male heir that he accidentally killed. Well, accidentally. Anyway, he killed his first wife, and he's kind of broken up over that. That's how I'm reading it. And also, he doesn't want to keep going back and forth with his heir. He's like, okay, I said it was going to be Rhaenyra. It's going to be Rhaenyra. I'm not going to. I don't want to sow division. So those two aspects of it.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, I guess I can get that, but
It'll
I
make
don't
him seem
know.
wishy-washy.
I still think they should call Viserys the wishy-washy king.
He is, definitely. I think he's trying not to seem wishy-washy, but he's failing.
Well, we
Miserably.
yeah. Well, we do hear him talk about that, where he's like, "I wish I had been challenged. I wish I had been given something to overcome." So
He's
we have
been given
songs sung
all
about him.
sorts of shit to overcome, and all he does is be
Well,
wishy-washy about it and pretend like it doesn't exist and not do a damn thing about it and ignore his counselors and his hand. And obviously, I do not like him at all, but I don't like fucking weak men. So that's probably why.
I
so
don't.
basically, I don't. Yeah, I think he's saying like he hasn't been tested by really big challenges, like a war, for example, or a really powerful enemy.
Really?
Something that would
So
give him glory.
Damon is not a powerful enemy. There was an award down in the now I can't remember what they call it. Sorry.
Stepstones.
So,
Yes, thank
so
you. I mean maybe those are minor or that's the way he
well,
looks at them, but I'm just like, what?
I think that what he's saying in regards to that is more necessarily, well, he wasn't directly involved in the conflict. He has never had anybody directly challenge him in a way that tested him. For instance, Aegon Targaryen was challenged by the fact that he had a great task in front of him of uniting the Seven Kingdoms, and he managed to accomplish it. Viserys has mainly just been a king who just kind of goes with the flow, doesn't really do very much.
Crimson Scorpio says that Viserys is a good man and a bad king with a good reign. Well, it's a good reign in the sense that Robert's reign was a good reign.
Yeah.
It's leading to bad things off
Well,
down the line.
well, I actually think that Viserys is a better king than Robert because he didn't
Oh, yes.
get swindled out of millions of pounds by a used car salesman.
Viserys is,
Yeah, he didn't put
is
the
actually
kingdom in
trying.
Well, and I could agree with Crimson on the fact that he's probably a good man. I guess maybe part of my problem is that I kind of have certain expectations of the Targaryens, and he's doesn't seem to fit that mold too much.
He doesn't,
No.
but he does show it occasionally, which I'm kind of want to like push back a little bit. He has a strength, he just doesn't use it very much. So I think he's been showing it a bit more and more as things are getting more and more desperate for him, and he's seeing that he's going to probably die soon, and he's getting a bit worried.
Yeah, I
Because
was
we
gonna
see,
say
like,
that he's
a few
probably
times he's manipulated with Daemon, he gets fucking aggressive. He fucking put Daemon on the floor and was like, "Get the fuck out." He has moments like that. He just doesn't do it much.
I liked when he fired Otto. Sorry.
It's fine. Go on.
No, your turn. I was just going to say I like
no,
to see when he fired Otto.
No, my point was just go. Just,
Okay, I'm done.
Oh, that's my name.
No!
Done to death, done to death.
Done to death.
No, it's just like also to
that
kind of build on what Aspiring just said. He's also his illness as well. I doubt that he's going to do a lot more due to his illness.
Repeat. Sorry.
I doubt he's going to do a lot more because of his illness. Exactly. Like he is kind of restrained a bit more because of it. Exactly.
Yeah, he would be most likely, and he would he would lose a lot of his authority just from that. Like him being in a wheelchair, you need to be someone fucking incredible to still be imposing in a wheelchair. And no, Bran is not one of those people. Go fuck off.
What?
Well,
don't worry, Mr. Aspiring. Nobody thinks that Bran Stark is intimidating. Even that was actually one of Mr. Mentally Deficient, also known as Yezin IRL, said that the reason why they picked Bran is because he's harmless.
I ran away screaming every time I came on screen.
Yes, because you were scared of because you knew the bad writing was happening whenever he was on screen.
Well,
I'm to good
that's pretty
writing.
scary.
He
It
is
is.
the bullshitter of the series.
Mm.
Well, so the comment that you had up there a little bit ago, Kai, about where he was saying, "I have neither fought nor conquered."
Mhm.
So, do we think Viserys is self-aware enough, or that what he is saying there is that I regret the fact that I did not do this, or is he kind of whining about the fact that he never had that opportunity? Because, again, going back to, Targaryens and the quote unquote mold, okay, if he wanted that, he could have done that. Just because nobody came at him doesn't mean he couldn't have gone at them, is what I'm saying.
Well, I would say he had a perfect opportunity with the Stepstones, which he just didn't take and let Daemon take care of, as well as Corlys. Like, he had people saying, "Can you please fuck these people up? They are torturing our sailors," and he refuses to because he doesn't want to go to war with them. And I guess this could be him having like a changed perspective where he is wishing he could have done that, because he normally has never seemed to care about this very much.
And why doesn't he have a dragon? Maybe I missed that, but
Because his dragon died of old age.
okay.
That explains it. Yeah.
Of old age?
Yep.
So he didn't. So he basically inherited a dragon then?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially what happened was, well, Targaryen dragons, most of them are are inherited. For instance, Daemon's dragon used to be his uncle's dragon.
So they don't, even though they put an egg in the cradles, those aren't the dragons that the children actually ride?
Sometimes. Some of the time it happens a fair amount, but more often they inherit a dragon or they pick a dragon to ride.
I don't think they have enough eggs or dragons to be able to put an egg in every cradle.
There's also the element that he decided to choose Balerion the Black Dread. I think also King Jaehaerys tried to limit his children and grandchildren getting dragons. Because he didn't want kids with nuclear weapons running around. He usually had them wait until they were either knighted or married. Married or both.
Fair.
So,
but no fun.
No, definitely not fun.
Definitely not.
But in the end, Aemon Targaryen, Rhaenys' dad, this family, her dad got a dragon. Was Caraxes, then Daemon got it. Balerion the Black Dread had 4 riders that we are aware of. Aegon Targaryen, Maegor Targaryen, then Arya Targaryen took him for a ride, and he flew to Valyria because she couldn't control him. And then Viserys, but he only flew Balerion once around the castle before he had to land him because Balerion basically had a similar situation to Andre the Giant, where basically just he grew and grew and grew until his bones couldn't really support his weight.
Well, also Balerion was attacked by fireworms or whatever they were in Valyria, which is why I think actually that Arya may have been the last to ride him.
No, it's Viserys. It's for sure Viserys was the last one to ride him.
Yeah, but he did get attacked by whatever attacked her also attacked him.
Yes, that is true.
So Viserys only rode him once.
Yep. Yeah, basically just took him for a flight around King's Landing.
Do you think that has anything to do with the type of king he is? I'm just curious. Do you think if he had had more experience as a dragon rider, that might have brought the strengths out more, or the, whatever you want to call it, maliciousness, or
Maybe.
Force of will? I don't think so,
Yeah.
since there have been dragon riding Targaryens who are punces.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's
Like specifically Aenys Targaryen, Aegon Targaryen's son, was a dragon rider from the cradle, where he had a dragon hatch from at a very young age, and he did seem to get better, but he was a weak king, even though he was a dragon rider. Admittedly, his dragon rider was a puny thing, especially compared to even just Vhagar or worse, Balerion, the Black Dread. Not our Balerion. Our Balerion is clearly an eldritch horror in the body of an old man.
with a penis. With
I'm the black
tinfoil.
kid too. Die screaming.
You do like to make us do so, yes.
Well, yes. I mean,
No.
yes. I thought that was one of you for a second there. I was like, what the blazes happened to somebody's laugh?
Oh,
My
there's
laugh
the
is far
dress.
more insane.
Yeah.
Wait, there's the dress and the outfit, which I will
Yeah.
be back at, is absolutely gorgeous. They did a really good job with that. The off the shoulders and the necklace and the gold fastenings. I would dare say her dress is prettier than Rhaenyra's.
Don't step in the blood while you're dancing. You all.
Rhaenyra's is kind of plain.
I mean,
It
it's very pretty as a, like a wedding type of dress, and they dressed it up a little
Oh, yeah,
bit,
definitely.
but
Yeah.
yeah, Allison kind of outshines her here.
Yeah, I don't think she was meant to do that. That's probably bad etiquette.
Well, they all were shocked when she came into the room.
Probably because of the green.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, and
So-
then wasn't there something about they didn't think she was going to attend at all? I picked
think
up
she was
some
just
little
late.
subtle
She was
underpinnings of that.
She was late, and the king decided to go ahead without her and start his speech, and then she turns up. And she's like, whoa, hi guys, I'm here.
Do you think she purposely timed it like that? Like she waited for the speech to start
Probably.
so she could interrupt?
Probably.
I think so. Yeah.
And
seems-
it was
No, go for it.
I was just going to say it was probably a bit of an insult to Rhaenyra, maybe her timing, not
There's
being.
an,
Yeah.
sorry, there's an
definitely,
interesting.
go for it, Valerian. Sorry.
Thank you. There's an interesting detail here that they give where green is actually the war color for the High Gardens.
Yeah, it's the what color the Tower of Old Town glows when Old Town calls its banners to war. Which is
Yeah,
interesting. I guess they just either throw some green powder into the beacon or they use wildfire. Those are the two options.
Yeah, hopefully the former. Wildfire is a safety thing. But so there's this debate. I don't know if debate is the right word. There's this disagreement in the fandom as to whether we should call this the green wedding or the white wedding.
I honestly think that this should have probably been the green. That was actually a neat point that green clashes with everybody because nobody else is wearing that color of green.
That is true, yeah. That's a good point.
Actually, most people's clothing is not very colorful.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
They're more
Yeah.
subdued in what shade they have.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if we want to talk subtlety here, do you think they're trying to make a point that everybody is subdued for the wedding?
yeah, it doesn't seem as
Maybe.
though anybody really is that excited per se for this
Not
wedding.
really.
No, especially there's probably an element of Viserys has basically picked an option that is going to suit House Valerian, but is going to make everybody else angry because pretty much everybody in Westeros is old blood money.
Well, here's a bit of an ironic statement. Men are made to answer for their crimes, and yet Cole doesn't.
Nope.
Well, I guess maybe it's not really a crime if he's Kingsguard. Is it a crime? What he did?
It is a crime. He would be brought on trial, and he would get like he's the prince consort now. He'd probably get him executed if Varys didn't say shit.
So basically,
Why would he?
Sir Krusty the Clown is not a man confirmed.
What?
Men are made to answer for their crimes in the Vale, but I guess we're not in the Vale, are we?
Okay, fair enough. So I guess he could still be a man. Okay, I thought we'd proved he wasn't, but okay, maybe he is.
But who wasn't?
Sir Kristen Cole, because men are made to pay for their crimes, and Sir Kristen Cole is not made to pay for his crimes. Therefore, it's like all men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal.
Again, there is no fucking way he wouldn't get punished for the crime. There would, except for Alicent, people would want his head.
Damn, I missed that shot in the show the first time around. Holy crap, that was not just a beating, that was a wow.
Dissection.
That's why I said he has no skull. I looked. There wasn't a skull.
So basically,
he did that barehanded? Can you crush?
Yes.
Yep.
So
you can't. Not while fucking up his hand.
So basically, Sir Joffrey is a bizarre eldritch being too.
Like
No,
you have seen. You and Dunn have both seen Breaking Bad. You both remember when Tuco beat someone up. That is a much more realistic way that would happen. He doesn't lose his face. He just is bleeding really badly and then starts going through his death throes.
Yeah.
You could break somebody's cheekbone, I guess, and then just keep pounding on it, but still, damn, I missed that.
I looked. There was no bone.
And here's the thing: I have actually been done a few boxing things. Even with the wrappings on your hand and the gloves, if you're pounding on just something like an exercise, like a punching bag, your fists feel that. Imagine if you were doing that barehanded.
Yeah, your hand would not survive.
It really
he would have
hurts.
to fuck up his own.
So basically, Sir Kristen must be a superhero.
Also, just saying, the amount of blood and gore that would be in your skull, like his hands should be super bloody and there should be a mess everywhere. You shouldn't be able to really see inside the head. There should be just blood filling it up like a punch bowl.
Speaking of mess and blood, where is the help?
I don't know.
Yeah, he should not be able to lift that sword like that at this point. To be able to handle anything, his hands should be crushed.
I mean, why are they leaving? Yeah. Why are they leaving all that blood on the floor? We keep going back to the same things because this episode is kind of not ruined exactly, but
it bogs it down to the worst of the four, just hands down.
Yeah, and just that one, just that. I mean, if it hadn't been for that, it might have been the best. And then it goes because
honestly,
of these screaming leaps of logic.
Yeah, maybe because while Cole's still really stupid on the ship, he does. This just fucking ruins everything about him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can actually fix his character with what you've done, with what we know of him. Like, to fix his character, you have to do so much shit. And I don't think you have the space for that. Time-wise and just character-wise.
Yeah.
Well, and I think... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Valerian.
I was just going to say, the most convenient thing now would be if he died.
No, he's not going to die. He's going to be around.
I know, but it would be convenient if he did. If they just said, okay, we've made it so we're stuck in this hole. The best thing to do is to say, oh, he got executed.
Well, and I don't know if it was their intention, but obviously by our focus here, as you were saying earlier, that last part overtook the whole episode. You don't, that's what you remember. It overshadows the wedding. It kind of even, it overshadows Damon killing his wife. It overshadows Allison talking to her father. At least for me, it really does. It overshadows everything, and that's what you remember from the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking to myself before all that happened, oh, this might be a 9. But then I've forgotten most of what happened that made me think that.
Indeed.
Yeah, it was the most jarring thing in the entire show.
Yeah. It was a very bad decision. I think
Yep.
they did put it out there that there would be how to put it. There would only be one tournament this episode where there's like 5 or 6 tournaments, and that most of the deaths that happened at tournaments would be at feasts. The problem is they did not logically justify the death at the feast.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't think it's a perfect fix, but the way you can do it is if he challenged him to a duel and does it. It should not be just a fit of rage. It needs to be a bit more than that. And challenging him would have been a better way. It would explain why no one assists. It can explain why he decides to just fucking kill him, or like how he can do that. I still don't think he should with what they've presented. I don't think it makes sense for him at this point. But that would have been a bit of a fix, is have it be a challenge that everyone surrounds him to get the space to try and beat it out. It would work better, but no, he beats him with his fucking fists and nobody does shit.
Yeah.
And it could have, and that would make it it would make it the melee. You don't have to have it at the tournament. It would just be at the feast. He just does a challenge. People can do that. You could even give Cole some excuse as to why he thinks his honor has been damaged or something, though I'm not completely sure how acceptable it would be for a King's Guard to challenge anybody.
Well, it's not a matter of... He doesn't even need to challenge him. He just... how a melee works is usually... A melee can be one of 2 places. It can be a free-for-all on foot or a free-for-all on horseback. And the artwork in Fire and Blood is a free-for-all.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a melee at the wedding.
Yeah.
I don't think. You could have a duel, though.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like just a duel or something like that would work.
Yeah. I'd like to get Crimson Scorpio. I'm glad the Crimson Scorpio is in the chat. He's got some good stuff to share.
Yeah, he nearly always has something pertinent and well thought out.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? There's still the problem with the rats, but I guess that's easily fixed by just not showing that particular still. I mean, the rats and the blood, you just not show that particular still, and that problem is solved.
They wouldn't let rats be while they're getting married. They would find that Also, are they in, like, the Septon?
No, they're in the main hall. They just brought a Septon there for a shotgun wedding.
Could you not... aren't you normally married in the Septon?
Usually, but they decided to do a shotgun wedding.
I think you can still do that in Decepta and just go there and boom, done. Like, rather than him come to you, you go to them, and then you're not with the blood.
Is there not at least a chapel somewhere in
this is King's Landing.
I know it's in King's Landing. It's in the Red Keep. Shouldn't there be, like, in Magor's Holdfast, whatever, shouldn't there be a chapel there somewhere? I mean, in the real Middle Ages, castles would have several chapels. Or does the Sept not have chapels? I'm pretty sure the Sept does have chapels, though. I'm pretty sure there's one in the Mystery Night.
Yeah.
Either way, there is the equivalent of a church within traveling distance, very close traveling distance that you can go to away from the blood and get married quickly.
Yeah.
So why you're doing it in the main
Building.
hall, I have no fucking idea.
Budget reasons.
Because they did.
Okay,
I
so
think
in this shot,
yes, there is a sept located in the Red Keep. Yeah, the Royal Scepter Castle sept. It's located across the yard from the Red Keep stables. The main vault is also found behind the sept.
Yep, makes sense. It would be very weird if there weren't one.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the show just didn't want to do that, I guess.
I think that I don't know if it really would have mattered that much as to have them. I think they just kind of wanted. We are done. Viserys is like, we just want this to be finished. Go for it.
It's a nitpick, I grant. It just seems like it's a more sensible option what they would do, and I don't think it would be that much more difficult.
The only
Surely you
thing
still
is,
have some of the set designs from Game of Thrones.
it must, but if the only thing being that if Kristen Cole kills someone in a sept, that's an even worse crime.
Well, it's he's not referring to that. I don't think they wouldn't necessarily have him kill anybody in the sept. He's talking about them moving the sept into the wedding, but I think they just didn't want to build another set.
Okay, they just wanted to go straight from the killing scene to the wedding scene in the same set.
Yeah,
and they didn't want to clean up the blood either for some reason.
Right. Yeah,
like either clean up the blood or move them to a different room. Either way, it makes more sense.
I think they just wanted to get it done fast because they want to solve any possible issues, and they definitely want it to be a private affair with nobody there. And if they went to the Royal Sept, or worse yet, the Major Sept, there would have been they had to worry about people or losing face.
But why? But still, it still doesn't explain why they didn't clean up after. Clean up.
Probably they just happened right after. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's any logical explanation for it.
I don't think so either. I'm steel manning a really dumb a decision that was made for economic reasons rather than logical reasons.
Yeah.
So if you go back to right there, no, where you literally just were. The question that I have, because I probably didn't notice, when she was dancing earlier, did she have that same necklace on?
I don't think so.
No, she
because yeah, I don't remember, and you guys were talking about timing and everything, so I was kind of like, well, did they have time to change her jewelry? Yeah, she had it on. Okay, never mind.
Also, I did mention it earlier, but yeah, Rhaenyra should want Cole dead now because he is clearly a loose cannon.
Maybe she will in the next episode.
Yeah, it's like there's no way Cole can survive with just one protector. Not when the people wanting him dead are of equal or higher stature.
Yeah.
And Lenore especially would want him dead. You just killed his boy toy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a good boy toy. I was liking Joffrey.
Yeah, the actor was good.
Yeah, he was good. He made sense. I'm like, yeah, you I like. I hope I see more of you. Then they immediately fucking kill him. Like, Cole, what the fuck?
Well, okay, so here's a different take, even though it's not the one, I think, in the show, but what if Cole was to approach it from, well, I was simply defending your honor?
I don't think they would do that.
No, I don't think they would, but let's just throw a hypothetical out there of, well, then Rhaenyra might be like, oh, well, okay. He was defending my honor. Well, yeah, but
I just think that they're just going to say Alicent protected him from consequences.
Well, she's
Yeah.
trying to say, what about the hypothetical? And if you're saying the hypothetical where he lies and says, I was defending your honor, yeah, I can see Rhaenyra maybe then having a bit more of a hesitance, because he could then say whatever shit he wants about what Joffrey said as for the reason. I still think he would get some consequences for the manner of doing it, but he would avoid most of it and maybe even keep his station.
So he probably would not become Lord Commander.
You definitely wouldn't get a promotion after that, just out of a point of you ruining a wedding. It's like, I don't care the reason. You fucking fucked up this entire event, and we're not promoting you for that.
Yep, this is also incidentally the wedding of the heir to the throne, so it's no ordinary wedding either.
Yeah, it's like you're not getting any rewards. The most you can hope for is you trying to avoid most of the punishment that you deserve.
I would actually at the very least, kick him out of the Kingsguard.
I don't think you can do that at this point.
I don't know. They did with Sir Barristan.
Well, I don't know.
That was setting a precedent that had never happened before that point.
Yeah.
Everybody
Also, that's the worst thing Rhaenyra could do, because remember, he holds knowledge that can ruin her entire life. You need to make sure he's not displeased unless you're willing to remove him completely. Not from the Kingsguard, from life. Put him in the Night's Watch, maybe, if you need to, and you don't want to kill him.
You could actually do that. I think that Sir Lucamore the Lusty was gelded and sent to the Watch.
You could do that. So, Execution or Night's Watch is the only way you're punishing him thoroughly, because Rhaenyra cannot risk him speaking up.
Yep. Okay, right. Yeah, that's right. Night's Watch. So at the very least, goes to the Night's Watch and hangs out there and does whatever. Goes to Moletown or whatever.
Yeah. To dig for buried treasure.
Yes.
You were saying, Trip?
How did the Red Wedding episode end in Game of Thrones? Does anybody remember what the last scene was?
I think it was Catelyn Stark getting her throat slit or something.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm specifically after there is the very last scene of this that has them getting married in, the back and the blood still on the foreground. There you go, where Shai is talking about why didn't they clean that up. Are they trying to, we know from what they commented that it's, they're trying to tie it into the Red Wedding, right? But I just kind of wondered if the Red Wedding episode had an ending scene that was similar, showing, blood on the floor. If they really went that far. I can't remember, honestly.
No, they didn't do that.
And here's the thing.
I know that they did have the next episode they had Walder Frey having his maids clean up the mess.
Codex?
Yeah,
you were saying Codex?
I did see that episode quite recently, and no, it didn't end with how this episode ended exactly. Also, Dunn kind of said it as well.
Yeah, and remember, both the Red and Purple Wedding didn't really end with a married couple. Joffrey and Sansa married, but they were not married at the end, really, technically. Until that do his part.
There actually was a wedding at the Red Wedding. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, both were married and then both died. Well, actually, did the Red Wedding have the person die, or did they leave him alive and just kill every Stark?
No,
they killed the Starks, and they killed the Starks and all the Northerners. All the Northern Lords either got killed, or I think some of them got locked up, but most of them either got killed or locked up.
I think, if I remember correctly, the person who married in the Red Wedding actually did live.
Yeah, Edmure lived.
Because I remember him talking with Jaime when he was trying to go. What was the castle that the Blackfish was keeping?
River
Run. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, well, I have another question. Did
Yes.
anybody else notice that the tree was very prominent in a couple of places? And I'm wondering if it's just they're really proud of the tree. You know, not that because you got it in this scene, and then you have it in the scene where Cole is going out to, whatever, kill himself or beg for mercy or whatever. But I don't remember seeing the tree that often, and it just pops up to me a lot in this one.
Well, it
I
has
didn't-
meaning for the old gods.
Yeah, but it has no meaning anywhere else, really.
Yeah, and I didn't personally notice it standing out too much, but like if you point it out, yeah, it's prominently in the background or in the side of the shot. But I didn't notice that for any like symbolic thing. It's just a really good set piece. Which it is. It's really pretty. Red leaves and silver bark actually does look quite nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm always there for trees.
Maybe we need to watch The Last Unicorn.
No.
Oh, don't
No.
start with that again. No.
No,
Done.
no,
No.
no.
We'll have to blur Valerian's vision again.
Kill it,
Oh.
Dad.
Why? I can just pull it up right now.
Oh,
No.
Well,
I
mean,
think
I'm-
you've been
I'm
outvoted.
leaving-
Done. Maybe don't.
I'm leaving around 6 anyway, so hey.
When has him
Well,
being
actually-
outvoted ever changed anything?
Well,
This
the
is
thing is,
true.
I'm going to leave soon anyway, so if he does that, I'll just leave earlier.
Honestly,
It's
Lord
not that
Captain honestly is
explicit.
the Lord Captain Commander is more of a dictator than I am.
Yeah, it's just
Something a crusty, starly husty.
Mm.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I love you. I love you. Love, 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 love. Oh, what have I done?
What the hell?
Always faithfulness beyond any man's deserving.
This
Can we get
reminds
back
me
on
of that
track,
Rick and
please?
Morty episode with the dragons.
When no
What the
other-
fuck?
Can we please get back on track? I have to go
Yes.
on my walk soonish
Codex knows what I'm talking about, huh?
because the show is on tonight, so I need not to waste time.
fair enough. I just thought that, yeah, The Last Unicorn is one of my favorite fantasy films. It's one of the best adaptations of a movie of a book I've seen in a long.
I see.
Yeah. It is weird, yeah. It is extremely weird.
Some of the best fantasy shows are.
Yeah.
Anyone here seen Gravity Falls? I'm pretty sure Dunn and Tripp haven't.
Yeah. I've seen it.
One
Yes.
episode,
You need to see more.
maybe.
No, because way before that comes Goodfellas and Casino. I'm not
Yeah,
kidding.
they're
Those
good.
moved to the top of the list. I can't believe you guys haven't seen those. Not you.
I have.
Codex.
All right, but you guys need to see Gravity Falls. It's a really great, weird show.
Yeah. Anything else we wanted to discuss? I think we've pretty much covered everything.
No, I think this is a solid episode.
Still
Except for
think
the
they should have thrown Cole off the ship.
Yeah, exactly. Barring the ending.
And I think.
Well, sorry, Shy.
No, you first.
I was just going to say, even though, yes, I think we all agree that the whole Cole situation is just screwed up and a mess, it did engender a lot of discussion. So, not like Rings of Power where you're just like, what the hell do we talk about because it's so boring. So there is that.
Yeah.
Okay, it is better than the absolute worst than it could be because it's talkable. I can agree with that, I guess. How boring is Rings of Power? Jesus Christ.
Very
Mm.
boring.
Hmm.
Is it as boring as when, we and Dunn, tell me, is it as boring as when we watched Wheel of Time for us? Because I remember being just thoroughly bored with that show while we were watching.
I don't know.
I'd say it's not quite so boring as Wheel of Time.
Wheel
Yeah,
of Time pissed me off too much for it to be boring.
Yeah, I
Whereas
think part of
whereas Rings of Power doesn't do even that, really.
I think
I
that
think
it's
when
if for people who like Wheel of Time, it is as bad for them as Game of Thrones season 8 is for A Song of Ice and Fire fans.
Yikes.
Yeah, since I think I was still going through reading the first 2 books while the show was going on, I was still technically a new reader, and so it just bored me. And looking back at it now with more context, I'm like, how much shit did you ruin?
A whole heck of a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, Aspirant, I had the basis take in that scene. You know how the choreography of Kenobi, the fighting choreography for Kenobi was terrible, exactly?
Yes.
Well, that show did a lot better than the recent episode of Rings of Power. Let's put it that way.
How?
That bad. I know.
I need Shad to break the scene down, whatever you're speaking of. Shad, do a fight scene autopsy on Rings of Power, please. Please, 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 please.
You did an autopsy on the Kenobi show.
Fight?
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
It was fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as a lot of things were saying, but it's still pretty frustrating to say the least.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of this episode, I think that pretty much that's it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Did we actually come up with a rating?
I'd say like we don't really usually do ratings, but if I were to kind of rate this episode, it would probably be somewhere around on the lines of solid 7 out of 10-ish.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Thought.
Yeah,
I'd give it a 4 or
sounds about
5.
right.
Cole ruined it too much.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I guess I'd make it a 7.5-ish too, I guess. I mean, it was so good until all that stuff happened, it was good, but then so I have to take off at least a point for the wedding scene. So, yeah, it's like maybe B-, C+, maybe a C+.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's definitely the worst so far.
Yeah.
Jane and Balefire both say I'm too nice to this show, and I'm the only one here who gives it a 4 or 5.
I think it is going to be interesting to see the switch to the new actors. Hopefully they're good. I think Nerporeal actually made an interesting point earlier that he has a bad feeling that the new actors for the characters might be insufferable. I think it could be just kind of depends on how they play them, since they're going to be mostly playing a bunch of cynical people.
Yeah.
Cynical, dour people who don't really have any humor, at least that we've seen. I think Emma Darcy seems like a nice person from the interviews I've seen of her. Same with Olivia Cook. It seems like Olivia Cook and Emma Darcy either are very good actresses who know how to fake good chemistry with each other, or they know how to, or they are genuinely good friends.
And also, Olivia Cook is kind of hot.
I just woke up. Shut up.
Cook your mom.
What? Cook your mom. You cook, you are a mom.
Yeah, I realized that after I spelled it. Shut up.
Did you
I'm the cooker of moms. He's the cooker of moms, or he's the person who makes you cook your mom. Okay.
Edmure lives, says Crimson Hoo-Ha, Scorpio.
Yes. He does.
Fuck your father.
Yeah, I do
Okay,
love The
this
Last
is
Unicorn.
interesting.
Maybe we should watch The Last Unicorn just to...
What?
The Last
Maybe.
Unicorn.
Maybe
I don't know
put
what
that
that
up
is.
as an option in the Discord and see how many people say yes.
I mean, at the
Yeah.
moment, our hands are kind of full with
I know.
House of the Dragon and Rings of Hoo-Ha.
Rings of hoo-ha.
Yeah, Rings of Hoo-Ha.
All right, that's it. Done. My count. You're done for.
What? You're already dead. How are you gonna kill me when you're already dead? When you're dead, how are you gonna kill me?
Because I came back. Because I kind of forgot.
Oh, in that case, I'll come back too.
Not really. I have the super duper uber bullets that make it so you can't just unwrite your own death. Sorry.
I have an atom bomb attached to my back.
Your back or your butt?
Shut up.
What? It's hidden inside your butt. It's hidden inside your bum.
I gotta be honest. That's kind of a pain in the ass.
Start screaming.
Well, I'm guessing. I
No.
You need more. You need to use more variety in your. You used to have so much variety in your clips.
Maybe.
You used to have really good ones too.
He still has them. He now just has particular favorites that he is starting to rely on more and more.
Like pretty much exclusively.
Well, I need to get more. Well, I guess I do have a no.
No.
Well, there's also the Bring It On guy. Actually, there's a couple of Bring It On guys.
Yeah.
If only you can make GIFs have sound, then you can have Trips Galadriel no in her voice, if that she ever does.
You can just make it.
I don't know how to make a voice.
Yeah.
Well,
You
she
go
could
into-
just
you
say
go in-
she.
You go into like a video editor, you get some audio, and then you get a video clip, and you put them together, slap them
Okay.
together, and call it a day.
When does she say no?
Well, we just have to get her to say no.
Sounds like a gas baby. Bring it on.
I do like that one.
All right, done. That's it. You're over.
For
No, I'm not.
using...
I mean, that's one of his less bad clips.
Yeah, that's a funny kids movie.
It is a very funny kids movie, and it's actually got a very intimidating antagonist who's just a psychopathic virus.
He's just trying to kill someone as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's COVID-19 then.
No, COVID-19 is a case of dandruff compared to Thrax.
So, how was the
Fair enough.
episode? Without spoiling any major details.
It was a solid
Oh,
episode.
you haven't seen it?
No.
It was kind of weird because 2/3 of it were really good, and the other third was a mess.
Do you remember
Okay.
Cole White?
Yeah.
He has a character now.
Kind
I
of.
don't like it.
I got into another debate with Replica, by the way, about the prequel.
Oh, no. Please inform us. What happened? What idiotic
was-
thing did you say now?
It was we were still on the whole Republic not having an army thing, and he and some other guys, he and some other guys were arguing that. First, they were making some like one of them was I wish you were there because some of the other guys start bringing some historical stuff that I had no clue about. So, but they were talking about like England at war with the Scottish or something as in comparison to like the Republic versus the Trade Federation.
That's not
stupid.
remotely the same.
And then the best one was the first one. They try to compare the United States to the Republic, which is like the total polar opposite, by the way. I
The
even called them out.
United States of America is one of the most gun-happy countries in the entire world in the history of the world, aside from perhaps the USSR.
Yeah.
We have a military. A
Is
very
it- no,
big one.
one of their quotes was, "Why can't you someone just take over the United States then?" I'm like,
Because
boy.
we're
Because
the
we
top
have
military
nukes.
force in the world. No, you don't even need to go there. We have the biggest military in the world, except for maybe China in terms of sheer number of soldiers. We have more fucking helicarriers than China has by 10 times. We
yeah.
are fucking God here.
I mean, the U.S. is a superpower.
And
I
they also
think.
try to
Yep.
compare. They also try to pull the United States in like the 1600s.
Oh, for God's sake!
The United States in the 1600s had Indian attacks to worry about and French incursions.
Yeah,
But there was no United States in the 17th century.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not
it
to-
came a bit
The
later.
colonies at that point.
The United States. Technically, there was no United States then.
Well, I mean, you had New Netherlands, New France, New this, New that, and the colonies were not united. Even the English-speaking colonies were not necessarily united.
I'm like they also. I think they were trying to compare the. I think it was the Revolutionary War. I think they were because they were trying to compare it to. For some reason, I don't know what the connection is. I'm like, even so, like the United States wouldn't have won if it wasn't for like the what was that? Their supporter again, the big country.
France,
It was France
and Spain, I think. Was it both of them?
Like
I
if
think
England,
so, yes.
England was at war for with like two other countries at that time, right? Like
I'm pretty sure
Yes.
that Squaring is right. That France, mainly France, but also Spain, and there were also like mercenaries, like from.
so, like the
from
United,
past.
like the rebels in the 13 colonies would have like not have survived if it wasn't for like England's having war with multiple countries at the same time. I think the England just literally just gave up. Like I don't care anymore.
Well, that is legit how it happened. We basically became too much
Yeah.
of a nuisance for Britain to handle. That was
Yeah.
part of why we got assistance from France and Spain. They were trying to make us a nuisance because they were doing shit to Britain, and also they just were really bitter about Britain.
So
Yeah, because of the 7 Years' War earlier, the
Yeah.
French and Indian War, the 7 Years' War. Oh,
So-
and which France lost Canada. Sorry.
Yeah. So confirmed. Replica has no idea how history works.
Well,
He thinks Russia is right for the war with Ukraine. So yeah.
and also that slavery.
Oh yeah, the other ones was that they said that the Republic did have a military force before. And some of the other guys kept bringing like expanded material shit, and like I shut that down immediately because I keep getting tired of people when they do shit like that.
Yep.
Valerian, you had something to say? Slavery.
Oh yeah, slavery. Yeah. I hear this thing about slavery not so bad, because why would they harm their property?
Oh
Am I
god,
right?
no.
Yeah,
No.
that's an accurate summation of Replica's opinion on slavery.
Seriously, what the
let's not
fuck?
go there.
Well, he likes Bayformers. I'm not really surprised exactly.
He admits they're like dumb. He just doesn't
Stupid.
think they're bad.
No, they're fucking bad.
It's weird.
I even showed you a better Transformers film, and you agreed with that.
Yeah.
He,
The
again,
first-
he.
The
I don't
first
think
four episodes of the Transformers Prime, the Darkness Rising arc, is a better Transformers movie than Bayformers.
Huh.
I honestly think he's stubborn on the point just because he brought the sequels into it. If it weren't for that, I think he'd be less stubborn about it.
I think the sequels are better than the Transformers movies, but not by much.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying, because you said that, he is gonna die on that hill because you brought the sequels into it. It is solely
Yeah.
that, I think, that makes him not relent any ground, because he refuses to acknowledge there are worse things than the sequels.
Yeah, because he's a George Lucas fanboy who needs to understand that George Lucas is not that smart.
I literally said that to a couple times to his face a couple of days, like last time we had an argument.
What was his reaction? Do tell.
I don't even hardly remember. He was just
No,
so
'cause
far up his
Aspiring-
own
I remember
ass.
the
I
time
don't
when-
even think he was listening.
Yeah, I remember the time when me and Aspiring had a chat with them about that and how the continuity of the sequel trilogy is just as bad as the Bayformer films.
All we see is the House of the Dragon thing on StreamYard.
I know that's by design.
Honestly, I honestly think the U.S. should try and militarize his skull because I don't think there's anything you could throw at it that it couldn't be deflected off of it.
Do you mean weaponize his skull?
No, weaponized means it's a weapon. He is not sharp enough to cut even a piece of paper.
I really wish you were with me when that incursion happened. I can certainly use someone with a little bit more historical background.
When did this happen exactly?
Like yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. I was away from Wi-Fi the entire day.
I was working as well.
Kindly remember that I'm his arch nemesis in his head, assuming he remembers me.
He generally tends to forget you for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm possibly the person he hates the most in the entire server. I am also the person he has forgotten 5 times.
Yeah, this was in Noble Commando server, by the way. He rejoined after a while.
Noble Commander let him back in?
Yeah, because
Oh,
Noble
why?
said he's too entertaining to let go.
Is Noble Commando the chap?
Noble said that he was too entertaining to just keep him banned.
Okay, I can understand that.
Is Noble Commando the chap? I'm sorry. Is Noble Commando the chap who was talking during half of the
yes
writer showcase? That's not.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'd run away screaming from it. No offense to him, but I think I'd run away screaming from his server.
Oh no! The other day, yesterday, I pissed him off so much that he was screaming at me because he was playing. He was. I think it was because his aim was so terrible in a video game. He's not really good with aiming and mouse and keyboard. And I was just teasing him about it, and he got so butthurt. He started screaming and left the voice chat.
Yeah, Noble Commando ain't that much better than Replica, honestly.
Yeah,
he's better, but not by much.
Every time he comes on to the debate with me and Replica and them, it just drags the whole conversation down.
Part of it's because he sometimes takes Replica's word and hasn't learned to question it. I remember the first time I had those two in a VC, he just took everything Replica said for fact. I'm like, maybe you should watch what he's referencing.
Replica's a troll who has no intelligence.
Even to go back to the whole thing when they were comparing to England versus the rebels, I'm like, that doesn't even sound like a comparison. Even
it's not. It really isn't.
Also, comparing Replica to a troll is an insult to trolls. They are self-aware.
We have a
So, I think we've pretty much concluded here. Is there anything else?
No,
you want to discuss?
Not related to the TV show, but
Okay.
but there is more replicatism to talk about.
Well,
I'll have to clip that. I'll have to clip this out. I'll have to clip this out and make this a new thing at some point.
Yeah, because Trip would like to leave, I think, and has absolutely no context to Alan is.
I'll have to show her the last conversation of George Lucas and
the replica cut. She has to finish both of those.
Anyway, well, we will have to see you guys later. Adios.
Bye.
Hail Hydra.